Hello everybody, how are you all? I hope you're all fine. Today we are going to learn about a new chapter number 12, soil. Okay, it's there in your textbook. Open your textbook at page number 137. So let us start the chapter. So let us start with a mind map for this chapter. So the chapter is about soil. So what do you know about soil? The uppermost layer of the earth is known as soil, isn't it? So on top of the layer, that is soil, plants, animals, we, everybody lives, isn't it? Yes. So now we are going to learn about the sea, that is soil. Soil, the uppermost layer of the earth. Okay. Then we are going to learn about properties. We are going to learn about properties. So we are going to learn about texture, color, pore space. Texture, color, pore space. Then we are going to learn about formation of pedogenesis. Formation of pedogenesis. We are going to learn about then rock type, climate, topography, plants and animals. Clear? Then we are going to learn about soil profile. What do you mean by soil profile? Layers of soil are collectively said to be as soil profile. Clear? So there are different types of soil profile, that is layers of soil, topsoil, subsoil and bedrock. Clear? Then we are going to learn about soil erosion. So what do you mean by soil erosion? The top soil is carried away. That's what meant to be as soil erosion. Next thing, we are going to learn about soil conservation. Okay. So what do you mean by soil conservation? Protection of soil against erosion is said to be as soil conservation. So we are going to learn about all these things in this chapter. Yes children, now let us start the chapter. Why is soil important? So what do you know about soil? Soil is the uppermost layer of the earth, isn't it? Yes. So soil is extremely important for all living beings. For all living beings to survive, isn't it? Yes. Plants and trees grow in the soil. Soil provides all the minerals, air and water that plants need to grow, isn't it? Soil is providing all the minerals, air and water. Then it also protects the root of plants from exposure to the hot rays of the sun. Is that clear? Yes. Then soil also provides shelter to many animals. It also provides shelter, a living place to many animals. Then insects, small animals such as rats and many microorganisms live in the soil. They survive in the soil. Okay. So let us continue. Now children, let us learn about properties of soil. So soil has following properties. The first property is about texture. Okay. So here we are classifying the soil based on the size of the soil particles. Okay. Like soil can be classified into sand. Soil can be classified into sand, silt and clay. Sand, silt and clay. So how it is differentiated? Sand has the largest soil particle. Clay has the smallest soil particles. Clear? Yes. The next property is about color. So here it depends on the minerals and organic matter present in the soil. It depends on the minerals and organic matter present in the soil. For example, red color. Red color is obtained from iron. Clear? Yes. The next property is about pore space. What is that? Pore space. So here, the space between the soil particles is called pore space. What is that? The space between soil particles is called pore space. So sandy soil will have larger pore space than silty sand. Sandy soil will have larger pore space than silty sand. Clear, children? Yes. Yes, children. Now let us learn about formation of soil. So how we are getting this soil? The process of formation of soil is known as pedogenesis. What is that? The pedogenesis. The process of formation of soil is known as pedogenesis. Soil is formed by the gradual breakdown of rocks. Gradual breakdown of rocks by wind, water and living organisms. So rocks are broke down to form soil. Then this process is known as weathering. So the breakdown of rocks to form soil, that process is known as weathering. Is that clear? Yes. So now again, weathering is determined by four main factors. How many? Four main factors. What are they? Rock type, climate, topography, plants and animals. So what is that rock type? Some rocks break down more easily than others, isn't it? Some will break more easily, some will take more time to break. So based on that, rock types vary. Okay, the next factor is about climate. So what is that? Here in climate, extreme heat climate conditions is there, cold, flow of water and wind help in the weathering. So with this, the climate vary. Okay, next thing is about topography. The next factor is about topography. So here the rocks that have large exposed area, the rocks that have a large exposed area, that will be broken down more easily. The surface layer is said to be as topography, and here the rocks that have large exposed area will be broken down more easily. So this is the third factor. Then fourth factor, plants and animals. Here the roots of the plants grow into the rock, causing cracks and breakage. The roots of plants grow into the rock. So it will grow into the rocks. In between rock, you could have seen some plants, isn't it? Yes. The roots of plants grow into the rock, causing cracks and breakage. So this is also one of the factor. So these are the four main factors. With this only we are determining weathering. What is weathering? The process of formation of soil by the breakdown of rocks is called as weathering. Clear, children? Yes. Children, now let us learn about soil profile. So what do you mean by soil profile? The layers of soil are collectively known as soil profile. Layers of soil. There are different layers of soil. So let us learn. You can see in this picture soil profile. Here plants are grown in the soil. So below to that you can see the top soil, the uppermost part, that is top soil. Then subsoil, that is B, and it is in between. Below to that you can see bedrock. Bedrock. These are bigger in size, isn't it? Yes. So topsoil, subsoil, bedrock. So now let us learn about that. The uppermost layer of the soil is called topsoil. The uppermost layer of the soil is called topsoil. It is very fine soil and also contains the fertile humus. It's very fine, isn't it? Yes, and it contains the fertile humus. Then the middle layer, that is subsoil. It is known as subsoil. It has small sized rocks. It has small sized rocks and soil particles. The largest fragment of the rocks are present in the lower layers. What I said? The largest fragments of rocks are present in the lower layers. Then, here in this layer, it does not contain any organic matter. It does not contain any organic matter like plant and animal matter and all. Clear? Then, the bottom layer. That's what? Called as bedrock. The bottom layer is made up of unweathered rock. It won't be uniform in size, bigger in size. Okay, so that unweathered rock is called bedrock. So these are the three different layers of soil which are collectively known as soil profile. Is that clear? Yes. Yes, children. Now let us learn about soil erosion. So what do you mean by soil erosion? The top soil is carried away. Top soil, the first layer, it is carried away by some factors. That's what soil erosion. Now let us learn about that. Top soil is the most fertile layer of the soil. Top soil is the most fertile. Why it is fertile? It has humus, which is necessary for the growth of plants. It has humus. So sometimes this top soil is carried away by wind, water or other elements. So the fertile layer is carried away by some factors like wind, water, or because of human activities like cutting of trees, deforestation and all. It is carried away, and this process is called soil erosion. Clear, children? Yes. Yes, children. Now let us learn about soil conservation. What do you mean by soil conservation? The process of soil formation is extremely slow. So how we are getting soil? That process is very slow process. It takes hundreds of years to form an inch thick layer of soil. So we can see soil everywhere in the earth, isn't it? So we are getting that soil by hundreds of years. It takes hundreds of years to form an inch thick layer of soil. Since it is difficult to replenish soil, we must make all possible efforts to protect it and stop it from being eroded away. So that should not be washed away. That should not be carried easily. Is it not? So the protection of soil against erosion is called soil conservation. I repeat, the protection of soil against erosion is called soil conservation. So how to do this soil conservation? We are going to learn one by one. So the first method is by planting more trees. By planting more trees. Here, plants and trees reduce soil erosion, isn't it? Plants and trees reduce soil erosion. Their roots prevent water and wind from blowing away the soil. What happens? The root will tightly withhold the soil along with that. So, it prevents soil erosion. Their roots prevent water and wind from blowing away the soil. So, planting more trees is an effective way of reducing soil erosion. Clear, children? Then, afforestation. Afforestation, that is planting more trees. That is beneficial for both in plains and in hilly areas. Yes, children. Now, the next method is about avoid leaving the soil bare. Wind blows away the topsoil from bare fields. What do you mean by this bare fields? Which is not covered, right? Okay. So, wind blows away the topsoil from bare fields. Fields should not be left bare. Between the cropping seasons, they can be covered with grass. So, it should be covered with some plant materials, or it should be covered with grass. The roots of these plants would hold the soil particles together and prevent the soil from being blown away. Clear? Yes. The next topic is about terrace forming. What do you mean by this terrace forming? Terrace forming is done in the hills. It's done in the hills. So, you might have noticed hills, is it not? Yes, slopey area. The slope is cut into steps. The slope is cut into steps. This reduces the speed of flowing water. The amount of soil lost is also less as the soil eroded from one step is deposited on the next step. So, terrace forming helps in reducing soil erosion. Yes children, the next method is about crop rotation. Crop rotation. So, here growing different crops alternatively helps to maintain the nutrients of the soil. So, once if you plant rice, then in the same soil you could plant some other crops. Instead of planting the same type of grain, you could have planted some other crops also. Growing different crops alternatively helps to maintain the nutrients of the soil. Farmers can grow crops such as groundnut with other crops in different seasons. Is that clear? Yes. So that it will increase the soil fertility and reduces erosion. Okay. The next method is about embankment. What is this embankment? Building embankments along river banks prevents soil erosion. It's like a wall to prevent the river flooding. Building embankment along river banks prevent soil erosion. Clear? The river water is unable to flood the nearby fields. Clear? Yes. Yes children, now you can see the picture for embankment, right? Yes. The next picture is about windbreaks. What is this windbreaks? Rows of tall, dense trees. Tall and dense trees can be grown along the edges of agricultural fields. So, in the edges of the agricultural field, they are planting tall and dense trees so that it will act as brake. They act as brakes to the wind and prevent the soil from being blown away. I repeat, they act as brakes to the wind and prevent the soil from being blown away. The land is thus saved from soil erosion due to wind. So, this is also one of the methods about soil conservation. So, this is what about soil conservation. So, children, with this we have come to an end of this chapter. After watching the video, learn and practice well. Thank you all.